So week 1 was just about getting through the week and getting through the withdrawal symptoms. Week 2 is where things are getting a little interesting. That's where I start to see some patterns emerge, though it's not all completely clear. So the results are a bit all over the place. Some things are improving, some things are not. Let me tell you all about it. Let's start with the heart rate because that's the one that makes sense. When I was caffeinated, my baseline was about 69.6 beats per minute resting. During week 1, it went up to 71.6. But in week 2, it dropped to 69.3, which is actually a little below. And the data on my heart rate is solid because when I did the 0 to 5K challenge, that's something that I would measure every day. So I have almost 3 months worth of data on my heart rate. What probably happened is that during week 1, my body was freaking out for not having any caffeine at all. And now that it's clear, my cardiovascular system is pretty much going back to baseline. The second thing I'm measuring is cognitive performance. I'm doing a few tests on the human benchmark. And let me tell you about those tests. The first one, which is the one that I find the most important, is the reaction time, where the screen is red, it turns green, and you need to click as soon as it turns green. I like this one because there's no frill, no fuss, no fluff. It's very, very simple. The second test that I do is the aim trainer, where you have your screen and there's a target that appears, you click, it appears somewhere, you click, and it has to be as fast as possible. This one is still pretty good. Hand-eye coordination. I find that my results vary a little bit, but not too much. The third one that I do is the verbal memory test, and the results really go up and down a lot. The test is you see a word and you say if you've seen it before or not, and then you see a second word, have you seen it or not before, and it goes on and on and on, and the score is how many correct answers you get. On a very good day, I get close to 100, and on a bad day, it's 50, but it's twice as much or twice as less. So there's maybe a little bit of luck that some words stand out more than others. There's definitely also some focus. Those last two tests, the verbal memory and the aim trainer, for me, they're here to confirm what the first one, the cleanest, simplest one, tells me. And so far, it's been pretty consistent. Looking at the numbers, I don't want to... First week, my average time to click when the screen became green was 239 milliseconds. Week 2, down to 224 milliseconds. That's definitely better. Unfortunately, that's not a test that I did a long time before I stopped having coffee and tea. I say coffee because that's my main source of caffeine, was my main source of caffeine. I should have done those tests before to have a good baseline when I had caffeine. It is what it is now. It's definitely better. Makes sense. The first week there was the headache and I was feeling more fatigue. It makes sense that it's better this week. I don't know that week 3 is going to show more improvement because I think in my body things are pretty much stable now. We'll see. One of the things that I've been tracking is a day up. A day looks like this, and that would be the measurements, heartbeat, blood pressure and things. And this is throughout the day where I would say how much I crave coffee and how I feel. Tired, not tired, and I would take notes. Let's take a page that's already filled, something like that, and I would write things throughout the day, and at the end of the day there's a few questions to help me reflect. Consistently, especially during the first week, but still during the second week, what I call the afternoon slump. It's real and it hits me so hard. Now, even before this challenge, it did happen after a particularly large meal, after lunch, or if the morning had been very busy, you know, that normal thing after lunch where your body says, how about a nap so I can digest peacefully. And I did have that sometimes. Week 1 and week 2, that's very consistent. What, an hour? Yeah, roughly an hour after lunch, I feel so powerfully sleepy. It's so hard to get out of it. I try to walk, I try to shake it out, but it takes a lot of effort to just get back to work, keep going. So that, I think, is amplified by the lack of caffeine. Caffeine was definitely helping with that. Now, the metrics that has been problematic ever since I started this channel is sleep. I don't know what to make of sleep. I mentioned that before, but you may not have watched the other challenges. If you ask me, do you have problems sleeping? I honestly do not. When I go to bed, my head hits the pillow, and unless there's really something on my mind that I'm particularly stressed or worried about something, I'm going to fall asleep very easily. I'm very fortunate that I don't need to put an alarm very early in the morning. I wake up naturally between 7 and 8, and with my job, it's perfect. So sleep, definitely not a problem for me. However, this summer I started measuring my sleep, and I could tell, putting in the data in my Google sheet, that the quality of the sleep and the duration of the sleep was really not very consistent. My experience tells me I don't have problems sleeping. Looking at the numbers, it's not a nice and regular sleep with a regular quality to it. Last week, after the first week without caffeine, my sleep stats really improved, and I was very surprised because I didn't think that sleep would be something that would improve when I take away caffeine. I used to have my last coffee might be at 10 o'clock in the evening, never been a problem. So I was pleasantly surprised. Now, week 2 numbers are worse. Now, they're worse than week 1, not really worse than the previous weeks, so it's pretty much back to baseline. I think what happened is simply the first week, so last week, because of the fatigue and the shock of not having any caffeine, I think I did sleep better because I was definitely more tired, and now we're coming back to baseline. The last thing that I've been tracking is blood pressure, and well, this one is more of a mystery to me. Long story short, this week my blood pressure has been higher than the week before, which is a little surprising because you would expect that the more coffee you drink, the higher your blood pressure. Ergo, the less coffee you drink, the lower your blood pressure, and mine went up. So thinking about that, there's a couple of factors that I think influenced my sleep, and I don't know, it might be a chicken and an egg thing. I didn't sleep as well this week, and my blood pressure was higher. Also, I stopped running 2 weeks ago, which means that the baseline for the blood pressure that I had starting this summer was when I was working out regularly, and I have not worked out at all. I've gone for walks, not even very long ones. I haven't worked out at all, and regular exercise would lower the blood pressure as well. So this is something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. So week 2 already has made it pretty clear that just eliminated caffeine is not a cure-all. I was not expecting that, but it's good to have confirmation. I don't sleep better necessarily. My focus, I don't know that it's harder to focus. I know it's harder to get back to work after lunch, but I think it's a natural thing, not so much a lack of caffeine thing. I'm looking forward to week 3 yet again, and not just because that would be the second half of the challenge. I'm curious to see if my sleep is going to stabilize, curious to see what happens with my blood pressure. I'd expect it to go down a little bit again. We'll see. And I would really like to see my reaction time from the Human Benchmark website decrease, because that would be nice. Though, don't think that not having coffee for a 3rd week would make a big difference, but hey, I might be surprised. So really, I think week 3 is going to show me the new normal, at least for now. I've been thinking a lot about when I drink coffee, how I drink coffee, why I drink coffee. And I'm already thinking, maybe I shouldn't project, but I'm already thinking about the end of week 4, when I'm gonna have to decide if I want to drink coffee again. Yes. It's not a question. I definitely don't want to drink as much. and not the same way, but I need to give that some more thoughts. I'll tell you all about it next week when I have a more precise idea of what I want to do. Until then, take care.